Yep. So usually we do this before, and it's unfortunate that this has had to happen with the net metering caps and everything. So I was really hoping my first community solar array I'd be doing the right process. But yeah, because the process is when Mike and Karen do the visits, it's a very daunting process because we have to take wetlands into consideration, the current use, historical value, endangered species. So there's a lot involved in these sites. So.
Yeah. I think that would be good for everyone to know, so that people don't feel like Jonathan feels like things are being rushed through without a proper look at it. Because I don't think any of us I'm certainly not against solar. But we've heard people say, is it going too fast?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
So go ahead and continue on.
Okay. So this proposed array is an acre's worth of solar. So it's only 150 kW because these are what we can submit. It's about 780 panels. So that's able to help, like I said, 25 to 30 families go solar. And I think that's pretty much all I have. So hopefully I can answer some questions that people have.
Okay.
Why don't we go ahead and I'll start with the board. Ray, have you got any questions that you can think of right now?
I assume that your solar panels are similar to the rest of the solar panels that have been going up in this area as far as aesthetics look?
So we've actually never done a community solar array in this area. So this is going to be our first one that we've done personally. I know, I believe Aegis has done a couple in the area. But usually, if we have concerns about the way it looks, we can do screening with plants. So we don't make it look unappealing to people. We don't put those chain link fences around it. We try to make it blend in as much as we possibly can.
I'll note that there's no screening in the application.
Okay.
So,
John?
Great.
Any questions, John?
No.
Michelle?
I do. So when you say that you open up this benefit to 20 to 35 members of the community, how does that happen?
Yep.
Once you
Yep.
get approval?
Yep, so once we get approval for the array, either myself or another organizer will start a locals only campaign where if, in this case, if Dwayne decides he wants to help, we'll have different events at the location. We'll have what we call Shine and Dines. These are little events where we work with local restaurants and breweries. I've actually had a couple in the Mad River Valley. I've had one at the Mad River Barn and the West. Why am I forgetting the name of it? It's a bed and breakfast up in Warren.
Okay.
No, it's not that one. It's the
Picture in?
yes, West Hill Bed and Breakfast.
So Shine and Dine, do share.
Yeah, so Shine and Dines. Basically, the idea is
Sounds like a lot of fun.
it's an educational event, really. So we would work alongside with these local restaurants, bed and breakfasts, breweries, whatnot, to find a time where they aren't that busy, so we can come in and invite the community people in, and Suncommon will buy food, usually appetizers for people. Sometimes we'll buy them drinks if they sign up to go solar. But basically, it's a time where we can really sit down and talk about our different programs. So it's a time where people can come with questions, because usually our presentations last like 5 minutes, and then the question period's a lot longer.
Yeah.
Because that's the bread and butter there is the
Can I
questions.
ask you, what stage in the process does this Shine and Dine happen?
As soon as we get the okay, we'll start reaching out to different places. I've also...
So it's already been approved and it's already...
It hasn't been approved yet.
No.
No,
No,
I
after
mean,
the Shine
It has
and
been.
Okay.
At the time of the Shine and Dine,
Mm-hmm.
it will already have been approved.
Yep, as soon as we get the okay, we'll start recruiting people for it.
But it's not about comment about the project, it's about telling people
It's about finding
what's going to
yeah,
happen.
it's about finding community members to fill that array to keep it a community project.
selling the
In
project.
this one, and again, I think this is a good project, and I don't have a problem with this. But I'm in a butter, and I'm not in Green Mountain Power, so I can't join this. And I just think that the way this process happens is you hustle this thing through, and then you outreach to the community to tell them what's gonna happen, whether they like it or not, rather than approach the, I mean, when you say site visit, in most cases, you have a site visit, it's for the people who are interested in it to come and everybody tours the site. Your site visit is just for the company.
Yeah, so these are when we are first initially finding, or taking a look at the
Right,
location.
right.
So, so this is even before we submit paperwork or anything, so.
My concern is that I think when these projects, and I'm not talking about this one
Yep.
specifically, but I think there needs to be more community outreach before I got this thing in
Okay.
the mail. The meter is already running, not the electric meter, but the clock.
Yep.
And it's like, so now I get to sit down and figure out, okay, what's this? I do nothing about it. And I'm digesting it and figuring it out. And by the time I've got it together, now the community knows nothing about it, just the 30 or whatever it is
Yep.
butters around this
Yep.
large farm. Again, I mean, the specifics of this one are not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the process, the way this is happening all over the state.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, usually before anything happens, is we'll usually we'll come out to a select board meeting or a planning commission meeting before we even submit CPGs.
But that didn't happen.
It didn't happen because of the net metering.
Yeah, Jonathan, right from the beginning, he's been right up front and saying this is not the same process.
Yeah, which is unfortunate that this has had to happen. I mean, this is not like how we like to do things with Suncommon. So,
Hasn't everybody heard on the news that Green Mountain Power has reached their net metering cap, which is what he's talking about. That's why he pushed ahead, I guess.
yep, that's why we had to push ahead on a bunch of these projects.
Right. So, Jason, you had some calls.
I do.
Can I ask a question first, though?
Sure.
Are you asking questions as an abutter or as a select board member?
I am asking questions right now as a select board member.
Okay.
What I will be doing, however, because I'm also in a butter, is I am planning, unless you convince me otherwise, to file a motion to intervene.
Okay,
Because there are aspects of this project that do definitely bother me.
okay.
But right now, I'm just seeking information, so.
Alright, I'll try my best.
First question is just procedural. What is the PSP docket number for this project?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Don't know.
Sorry.
Okay. Next, John just mentioned many of the abutters and neighbors to this project are not on Green Mountain Power.
Yep.
Are they able to be members anyway?
They are not, unfortunately. These arrays are only for people who are on Green Mountain Power.
Okay. Now, after the application was submitted, a new site plan was sent around. Was that sent to all the abutters?
It should have been, yes. I don't know off the top of my head.
Because
That's
I did not receive one
Yep.
as an abutter.
You did not?
I did not.
Okay.
I got it through the select board.
Okay, great.
This one that you handed out is the new one, and the location has significantly changed. It was further up the slope, and it was brought down to directly behind the house.
Okay.
So its visual aspects are now quite different. I don't know that everyone's aware of that, so I wanted to be clear. Now, that does not extend the deadline. Again, this is a change post-application. Deadline stays the same.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what is the plan for the renewable energy credits that this project is going to generate? Are those going to be sold? Are they going to be retired? Will people involved in the project be getting clean power or brown green power?
So this power will be coming from the grid. So all the energy from the array itself is fed back out to the grid.
Yep.
It's keeping it local. I was hoping I wouldn't get one of the renewable energy credit questions because I don't know about that, to be honest.
Okay.
I can find out and follow up.
Okay, that would be great. I'm sure everyone would like to know
Yes.
if this project is in fact adding to the amount of renewable energy or just giving credits to someone to
Yep.
continue to pollute.
I will follow up on that.
Thank you. Now, The application said that there were no plans for screening. Is that still the case?
Yeah, so my understanding of that is if it comes up in the comment section, or the commenting time, that we take every comment into consideration
Okay.
when these come around. So if someone wants screening for this, we will definitely take that into consideration and see what we can do.
Great, thank you. It looks like there has been some tree clearing up at the site before approval. Can you explain what's happening at the site?
Yeah,
now?
so with tree removal, you can't have shade on any panels.
Sure.
Either if it's this or residential, because it cuts down on
Right,
the
but it
efficiency.
hasn't been approved yet. So what's,
So let him finish, please.
So that if there's been tree removal for this project, it is because we believe that this is going to be okay to go.
okay. Now, will Suncommon be responsible for the installation and maintenance of the power lines?
So Peck Electric is the one who does all of our installations, and then Suncommon will be responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of this array.
Is there a decommissioning plan for the panels?
So these panels, or for these arrays, we sign a 25-year easement with the property owner with a 15-year extension, because all of our panels have a 40 to 50-year lifespan. So if there is, I don't know it.
Okay. So Suncommon, as far as you know, Suncommon hasn't taken responsibility for eventual disposal of the panels?
Not yet, to my best of my ability, but that could change. I can also follow up with you on that.
Okay. In the application, Suncommon states that the system will not be sited on, near, or within any historic sites. And it turns out that there are at least 13 sites on the Vermont State Register of Historic Places nearby.
Okay.
I don't know how many are within the viewshed because there's been no view analysis provided. The road that the project is located on and all the roads coming into the 5 corners where the project is located are all designated scenic roads. And the house itself, behind which the project is located, is on the Register of Historic Sites. So that statement in the application is not accurate. Also, the application does note that the project is in a wetland. It doesn't seem to deal with the amount of impervious surface being added for runoff. You said that there is an acre in this project?
Yes.
And that is the threshold for regulation for impervious surface. And I believe that needs to be
Okay.
treated.
Yep.
And there were also some concerns about erosion, runoff, et cetera, from that section of impervious surface. Let's see. I just have an addition for you on the adjoiners list.
Okay.
John Riley is an additional adjoiner.
Okay. I think he was one that was actually mentioned to me. Yes, he was actually mentioned to me by John.
Great.
And I was told by our CSA team that he had stuff sent to him.
Very good. Let's see. Okay, I think, is that everything that I had? Do you know how much impervious surface is involved in this? You said it was an acre, but that's probably not all impervious surface.
So I don't. To my knowledge, it's just about an acre. But like again, I can follow up.
Okay.
So with follow-ups, what would be the best email to reach? Should I just do it straight to you? Great. What would?
Can you give me your email address, Cheryl?
Yeah. mselectboard at moretownvt.net.
Perfect.
So when will you have that follow-up? Because if the public only has us as a recourse, we would need to get it out there, maybe via Front Porch Forum or on the website or something. So you
Yep.
would have to get it to Cheryl.
I'll have it done by tomorrow.
Okay. And then maybe we can post it or something and let people know that there's a time limit to when they can.
Right.
Because when I talked to the CSA team, it sounded like they've already taken the steps to make sure it wasn't in any of these historical areas or the current use land or wetlands or so, because they were aware that a lot of the property was wet. So
But on that question, if you could follow up to be certain.
I will.
To Jason's point,
Yes.
he mentioned there were some historical sites.
Yes, I will.
Are you aware of those? Just
I will.
so that is
Yep.
crossed off or checked or whatever.
Yep, I will definitely do that.
Does the board have any other questions?
Nope, but just to be clear, you're in a butter, and so your comments are a butter related, which they're good, but, you're commenting more on the
Well,
other side of the table.
I did avoid the questions that I have that affect my property in particular and my view. These were all general.
And
I'm trying to be
I think
careful
these
about that.
questions here were all fair and fair for the board to know.
They're fair questions. It's just from a different perspective. Just important to make it clear, I think.
Absolutely, I think what's important, even as board members, you have concerns to bring them out, and I think Jason's done a good job to ask pretty general questions and not specific to his property. But again, the board, as I see it, now I've learned a little bit more, I guess we have an opportunity to perhaps intervene or make a comment, but from what I've seen of these, really the select boards in the towns in Vermont don't have jurisdiction over these projects. It's the Public Service Department that does. Board, excuse me, yes. And we've seen it, I grew up, with wind towers now and such, so towns unfortunately have very little say. It's just the facts. It's the Public Service Department looks at it as, what is the greatest public good, and then, with our energy goal of a 90% renewables from 2050, it's pretty easy for a board to say this is going to be in the common good. So I can understand why you're fairly confident that you'll be getting approvals in January.
Well, I mean, we've actually never done anything larger than 150 kW system too. So we try to keep everything on the smaller scale currently. I mean, we have tried for 100 or 500 kilowatt systems, but they just haven't gone through. Because when we try to find a host for these, we really try to find land that's not being used for much. So if we talk to farmers, we try to find an acre's worth of land that they can't use for anything, and that they can make use out of and benefit from having solar. So like we did one down in southern Addison County with an organic farmer, and one of his farm hands raised pigs on a piece of his property, and because of laws of organics, you can't really grow anything in that area for, I believe it's 7 years. So he decided to host a community solar array to get some use out of that land, as well as to help benefit the community and the environment as well. So there's always a bunch of different reasons on why people host these as well. So
why don't we take a few questions from the public, and I'd like to start on the left and kind of work our way around this way. Carl, do you have anything?
No, I don't have any problem with the whole project. Can you just generally go over how the array, how Suncommon gets paid, or what Green Mountain Power pays for the power produced?
yes.
And the difference between market rates and solar rates and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so when people go solar, the way it works, well actually let me start before we went solar. Before people go solar, they're paying a certain amount per kilowatt hour. I'm just going to use 15 cents as an example. So you're paying 15 cents per kilowatt hour when you pull from the grid. When you go solar, you actually get 15 cents back for every kilowatt hour you produce. And then on top of that, you also get what's called a solar adder. In many utilities cases, the solar adder is enough to make 20 cents. So in Green Mountain Power,